Casting from the mobile, so I hope that works, and I hope I got everything set up correct, and that you can hear me. If you can probably hear the fan sound, can't you? Yeah, it's like still very warm in Beijing, so I am still sweltering through it. It's warm, but it's not hot. It's still very humid, though. It's very humid, and I chose not to use my big microphone today because I was like, then I'd have to hook it up to the computer, and I just figured this would be easier using the little DJI microphone. So if you can hear me, great. If not, then I hope you should be able to hear me. Anyway, so what shall we talk about? Did I get this all set up correctly? I think so. That microphone there, right, camera. What does this button do? Oh, I don't need a highlight. No. Right. Well, hopefully it works. Got some hair stuck in my beard and vice versa. Anyway, let's take a look. My apologies for being late. Connection issues. And I was like, okay, well, then I was also doing laundry. I'm like, well, I could skip. The thing was, I had like a few minutes left on the washing machine. And then I was like, okay, I'll finish up the washing machine, then I'll get this going. And so that was the reason why so far behind schedule today. I know so many people were waiting for me to show up. Well, anyway, let's take a look at this one. Who's this? This is slightly wrong. They do say it's for English speakers. Yes, I know. I think I mentioned that in the video, referring to this comment about my comment about the Foreign Defense Institute. No, Defense Institute. Foreign Defense, DFI? FDI. Department of Foreign... What is it called? The Institute, Foreign Services Institute, FSI. There we go. They have 4 levels or 5 levels of languages, and Mandarin Chinese is level 4, level 5. Same with Arabic, Russian, Korean, Japanese, Cantonese, Hindi as well. Or is Hindi 3 or 4? Something like that. Anyway, I made a video about it years ago, and this guy's finally found it. Finally come across it. The algo has finally served him my videos, and he's saying that is slightly wrong. Yep. Yeah, well, I think you got to watch the other video too. It's a 2-parter, I think. There we go. Is that working? Or is it not working? Yes. No. Oh, it's horribly delayed, that's why. Is my voice coming through? Testing test. Yeah, should be. Test. There we go. Okay, good enough. All right, 1.48K subscribers. Do you think I can get to 10,000 by the end of the year? I'd have to publish more. Been publishing a lot. Been spent most of the day. Spent most of the morning. I was editing a couple more Australian videos. I have 2 more Australian videos. I want to get those done. I know they're not garnering very many views, but I just want to get them finished and up, and that way I can close out my Australian adventure vlogs. So there's one to the Great Ocean Road, and then there's another one from Melbourne to Sydney to Beijing, or to Nanjing anyway. Gotta find the Beijing videos again. But then that'll be it for Australia. And then after that, I have a couple of other prepared videos that I shot in China, or in Beijing, a while back. and I haven't released them yet. But there's two of those ready to go. One is only about 15 minutes, and the other one's about an hour long. And then there's another one that my video editor and I are working on that is currently an hour and a half, but we're not going to publish that. I think we're going to get it down to about an hour. And then what I might do is actually I'll release the video on YouTube and then release the full uncut interview on the podcast as well. So I do have a podcast that goes along with this this website or this YouTube channel, and you can find it. It's in the links for the YouTube. I'm just gonna find it. Where is it? Well, it is also on YouTube, so it's in the show notes for this live stream as well. I have a YouTube podcast playlist. It's unlisted because I'm not gonna lie, I feel a little bit sort of odd trying to publishing just talking head videos when I'm living over in Beijing and in China. I figure that if I'm living in China and I'm an expat in China, I should be doing more adventure style videos rather than just doing talking head videos, which is like the podcast is me just sitting here. Usually I have a nicer shirt on, and then just talking about whatever we've done on the YouTube channel. I talk about language learning, a lot of AI stuff these days. So yeah, I wasn't sure if people were really interested in doing that. So I don't publish them. I don't publicly publish them, but the podcast is available. You can listen to it. It's on Libsyn, Stevens Language Vlog Podcast.libsyn.com. I know it's a huge name. I am thinking about changing the name of the YouTube channel and of the podcast for a bunch of reasons. A few reasons, not immediately, but certainly something that I am thinking about in the next little while. Anyway, if you have any questions about anything, you can pop them in the chat box. Be happy to help you if I can. Why is that there? Let's turn them on for everything, I think. Yes. Yes. None of the above. Submit. Good. In today's paper. What's in today's paper? Right. 9 beers and 9 hot dogs in 9 innings? Oof. You could do it. Depends how long the innings are. I haven't had a hot dog in a very long time. They do have hot dogs here. They don't call them hot dogs for a variety of reasons. But they don't have, it's not the same. This guy's drinking Coors Light. Who drinks Coors Light? 999 challenge. Why would it be why do you need to have that challenge? I'm broadcasting from my cell phone today instead of the MacBook, so that's why I'm not screen sharing or anything. All right. I was if you've been paying attention over the last couple, if you've seen my channel over the last couple of weeks, I've been live streaming from outside. Last Monday, not this past Monday, but last Monday, I was at Starbucks. I did a broadcast from there. Then also last Thursday, I was out walking. Sadly, both of those broadcasts got interrupted. They got cut off, and so I'm a little bit miffed with YouTube, given that I have a VPN on that's helping me broadcast, and it's just getting cut off. So it looks as if I am still broadcasting. So from my view, I see myself moving. I see the YouTube channel moving and stuff like that. It doesn't freeze or anything, and it still shows that people are watching. But then I go check the recording afterwards, and the thing doesn't work. It's cut off. Last Thursday's was only 36 minutes. The Monday before that was 46 minutes. When both times I had been online for an hour, so a little bit disappointed with the YouTube platform for not being a little bit more stable. Now I can't blame YouTube because a lot of people do go live, and they have far better connections than I. But since I am where I am, it's tough for me to really change it too much. I have several methods of connecting to the internet. The problem is that it's hard to change them, especially when you're broadcasting mobile and trying to change them on the fly. It's not always easy to do. As I noticed last week, so I was out walking around and broadcasting at the same time. I was able to switch apps, so I was able to be live streaming from the YouTube app and then switch over to Alipay so I could pay for things, but then that would freeze the feed, and that would cause all sorts of problems. Sometimes it would kick back in, but I think that's what kind of, I'm not even sure if that's what messed things up. But I don't know. I don't know how else to do this. I don't know how other people are doing. How did I show speed stream live for so long, so continuously when he was here? What deal did he make? I'd like to know. Again. Busted. I think I'm done with YouTube live stream. This is horrible. This is absolutely disgusting and disappointing that this can happen. Freezes there, freezes here. Very disappointed with you, YouTubies. All right. What I gotta do? one other thing I'm working on right now is actually to create an IELTS course for people who are passing or want to pass IELTS. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with IELTS, it's the International English Language Testing System, and it's a standardized English language proficiency exam. By that it means that standardized means that it's the same test around the world. The questions don't change depending on who you are or where you are. Now they do use different tests in different parts of the world only because they don't want someone in Australia taking the test and then telling someone in China, telling someone in India, telling someone in Dubai, etc., etc. So it's they standardize in the sense that it's if you get asked the question in Australia, it will be the exact same question in Canada, London, Dubai, wherever the test is taken. So I am actually preparing. I have 3 videos so far. I'm working on a 4th one right now, and they basically deal with a few different issues that I've seen people have, students or language learners or candidates have with the IELTS test. The current, let's see, the current playlist consists of the top 10 IELTS mistakes, IELTS band descriptors FAQ. That we did 2 weeks ago. That was a live stream that I did here on YouTube. And then there's another video I just created, idioms and natural conversation. One of the big problems I see with a lot of people who take the IELTS test is that they think that in order to get a higher score, they have to use English idioms such as in a donkey's years, over the moon. What's the other one that I hear a lot? Raining cats and dogs. So those types of idioms, English idioms, those sayings, they're kind of cliche, they're kind of old. I actually advise people to stay away from them, and instead, and what I do with this video that I've worked on, that I've made here, I offer a bit more of an academic method of explaining your meaning. So if you want to say it's raining cats and dogs, well, instead of saying this cliched old sort of saying, you could say it was a torrential downpour, it was heavily raining, it was raining so much you couldn't see past your hand. So, and those are all different ways of being idiomatic without being cliche or corny, as we would say in English. So I've got 3 videos so far, 4th one in the works. This 4th one was actually is called Common Questions and deals with a lot of the questions that people have about the IELTS test, particularly how, actually it's not just the IELTS test, it's standardized tests in general. So whether it's TOEFL, IELTS, or even Cambridge, I've never taken IELTS or TOEFL. I've taught these a lot, and I've seen the Cambridge tests, but I don't really have much experience with them because here in China, a lot of people, they aren't taking the Cambridge test. They take the IELTS or they take TOEFL. Generally, if they're going to North America, they take the TOEFL. If they're going to the UK, Australia, or Canada, then they're going to take IELTS. Same with if they're going to Europe. Usually they'll take the IELTS test as well. So I do have this in the works, and the video that I'm working on right now, Common Questions, is all about the sort of the most common questions that people ask about these tests. Like how do you stay focused? Like how do you increase your writing score? How do you increase your reading score? How do you improve your speaking? Those are kind of very generic questions. Like, how do I improve my English? A very generic question, which there's a lot of different answers. And one of the issues with asking or saying, like even asking, how do I improve my English, is that, well, you have to know what's wrong with your English or where you're going wrong in the first place before you can offer any sort of like diagnosis or assessment. The problem with offering an assessment rather than a diagnosis is that, first of all, any assessment that your teacher or a teacher gives you after a trial, like a 15-minute conversation, even if you go through the standardized IELTS exam with a teacher, the fact of the matter is that whatever your teacher gives you doesn't mean that that will translate into a final score after the IELTS exam. And the reason for that is because anything can happen the day of the test. You, the test taker, might draw blank. That is, they might ask you a question, be like, oh, just, I don't know what it is. Number two, you might not be as prepared. So your vocabulary, your grammar, nerves might get to you. Now, that's two things that are putting the blame onto you. In terms of test delivery yourself, or test delivery itself, it simply might be that the question that they ask you have never thought of before, and you struggle to make your way through it. Or the other thing is that you get caught up on a question, whether it's the writing or the listening part where you know what the answer should be, but you don't know how to formulate the answer just yet in a real live testing situation. All that is to say is that a classroom experience is different than the test experience. And the test experience, I would say, is a little bit more heavy in the sense that there's a lot more writing on it. Whereas with your teacher, there's really no fallout from it. If you make a mistake, you can always do it again. You're paying the teacher, and so you're kind of the customer of that situation. Now, with the exam, yes, you are the customer. The problem is that they have so many standards and checks and balances in place that to complain about the test or your experience in it, let's get one thing straight. You can. And I know that in China, they are always sort of looking for ways to poke holes in the test. And by that, I mean they are looking for anything to grasp onto and to have the first experience of the test, complain, and then do it again for free. Because if I think it's the British Council or IDP, if they hear your complaint and they agree with your complaint, so if it's a so-called an upheld complaint, they will allow you to retake the test. Usually this is for the spoken component, mostly. Not so much, I've never heard this happen for reading or listening, maybe for writing, but a lot of times for writing, since it's, although they are still human assessed, you don't have that same contact face to face, whereas with the human examiner in the speaking test, a lot more people believe and complain about the tone of the voice, how clear they're speaking, how fast they're speaking, where the examiner's looking, etc. And all of these things can be complained about. Whether or not the company agrees with your complaint and basically assesses the examiner as being in the wrong, is they go through a series of check boxes to sort of verify that everything has been done to standard. And make no mistake, like, the examiners are held to high standards. They have a lot of people looking at them, a lot of technology looking at them as well. So when you go through a complaint, if it's an upheld complaint, it means that something has happened during the test where it was no longer a standard test. This may or may not be the fault of the examiner. This may or may not be your fault. It could actually be a technical glitch, which this has started happening with computer-based delivery, in that a test is going on. There could be like the microphone could cut out, the video could cut out, or a cat could walk in through the window, sort of thing. Sounds odd, but if you look up on Reddit, there's all sorts of kind of hilarious stories of what's happened during IELTS speaking examinations. Reddit and Dave's ESL Cafe, their forum, they have a lot of stories about people's experience with the IELTS test. Also here in China, they have IELTS Bro, as it Yase Ge, that has a lot of sort of reviews of different examiners and different experiences throughout China. And I think even for overseas Chinese people who've taken the test elsewhere, be it like London or Canada or wherever, Toronto, Sydney, etc. So the IELTS test and similarly, TOEFL is all computer delivered. I think it is. IELTS is the only one that still has that sort of old style face-to-face meeting, even though it's all on computer. You're still talking to a human. The most recent entry, I've heard recently that the University of British Columbia has started offering their own standardized English test, the CELPIP, the Canadian English Language Immigration, or English Language PIP, CELPIP, Language Performance Indexed Program. I can't remember. It's some super long. It's some super long name that they came up. CELPIP, CELPIP. You can look it up. It's basically for Canadian immigration, and that one, I think it's heavily based on the IELTS test. If there's one thing that IELTS has done, it's become the standard barometer of how English tests are conducted. It's also, I think, the easier of all of them. Now, CELPIP is also done on computer, TOEFL done on computer, but TOEFL melds different parts of the skills. So you have reading, listening, and then speaking, all sort of in one skill. It's an integrated test, whereas IELTS segregates all of its skills into each different component. And this also allows you to, if you are taking IELTS, if you screw up one part, if you mess up in one part of it, they have a one skill retake where you can just do the one component of the test that you didn't do so well on, or that you want to improve and try again, sort of thing. It's not free. It's at a reduced rate, but you can do that as well. Anyway, if you have any questions about these tests, you can drop a comment in the chat box. I really had, since I wasn't walking outside, I just finished my workout. That's one reason why I didn't really want to go walking. I did a 7-kilometer run, did some slam ball action as well. I have a 10-kilo slam ball that I use, and I try to do that workout once a week. Today, it's still very humid in Beijing, not hot, even though I still have my fengshan going right beside me, which I have to be careful with because my beard and my hair is so long. If I bend over and move the fan, the fengshan, I am worried that I'll be final destinationed in it. It is a worry, and that has actually had me think it might be time to finally trim off everything. I think within the next couple of months, certainly the hair. It's just so long. There's no reason for it. To tell you the truth, it becomes a bit of a hassle to deal with too. So I'm thinking sometime in the next month or so, I'm going to get rid of that. Because why do I need it? Do I really need it? It was fun. I ask, like, why did I grow my hair out and my beard out in the first place? It was because I was turning another decade older a few years ago, and I sort of wanted to do a ceremonial shave off. I never did because it was also during COVID, and we started working from home. And as a result, I just don't go out anymore. I hardly went out. And so I never really had anybody telling me, wow, your beard's so long. It's not like I talk to very many people in the compound. Sure, some of the elders I'll run into every now and then, but by and large, I mean, it's mostly me just walking by or running by, and me that foreigner who's doing that workout outside. Already they're looking at me because I'm working out outside rather than in a segregated gym of some sort, out of the public eye. So we'll see. Cut off the hair, cut off the beard. I don't know. Would you like me the same? Would you still come back for these live streams if I had no beard? The girlfriend, of course, has been very vocal of getting rid of this, the beard and the hair, to which I have often just said, darling, babe, I mean, come on. What's the big deal? Well, she's also said that I look like a bum. That's one thing. But the other thing is that it's actually not so much just for her. It is one of these things where I'm kind of going, well, maybe it's time to trim. Maybe it's time to take it all off, to cut, to restart, to not turn over a new leaf, to to restart, basically, to start again, start afresh, start anew with the whole appearance. Which, I mean, I might have to change my YouTube logo, because that's the Studio Ghibli icon that I have there, and that one's actually, that icon, this the logo that you see on the YouTube channel with my cartoonerized face, which I think it's a nice picture. It is, and it's taken from my podcast logo, which was taken from a live stream or a video that I did right here last year. I took a screenshot of it, popped it into ChatGPT, and said, "Give me the Studio Ghibli animation version of this." That looked kind of neat, so I took that, and that's become my logo for just about all of my channels. If it's not on one of the channels, it's because I haven't logged into that account in a very long time. That's that. So we'll see. I mean, if I do cut off everything, the hair and the beard, then I'll probably have to redo the logos. I haven't decided if I'm going to keep any part of the beard. I wouldn't mind, because one of the reasons why I grew a beard 15 years ago, 14 years ago, was because my chin, I'm getting a little bit older, and I was feeling a little bit larger than life, and I figured I would cover up the double chin that can sometimes be there, or that seems to be inevitable the older you get. As for the hair, actually, one of the reasons I was growing out the hair was, I've done this before. I did this a couple decades ago already. A couple of years ago, back when I was in university, I grew up my hair very long, and then I shaved it off, and I donated it to Wigs for Kids, which is a cancer charity in Canada. I was thinking that I was going to do that again, and they needed a minimum of 12 inches of hair, and I can't remember how many centimeters that is, but I have more than enough. Let's put it that way. I could give 12 or even 16 inches of hair and still have hair left over. So not entirely afraid of losing all of my hair. I think the only other issue that I have with cutting my hair is that, I'm not gonna lie, I do know a lot of other guys who are in their 40s or in their 50s, and they don't have hair like this. So that's number one. Number two, I'm starting to wonder, like this. I think this might be a symptom of age. That when you are aware of how old you're getting, how very few times you have left to do something. This was, what's that book? The How Many Weeks Before You Die or something. There's a book that counts however many number of weeks you have left until the average person passes away. And I think the average is like 80 years, so you times by 52 weeks. Then you can also count down however many summers you have left. So if you're over 40 and the average lifespan is 80, then you have only 40 summers left. Now, when you are in the midst of the Beijing Futian, the San Fu, the dog days of summer, it might seem like, hey, that's not such a bad idea to have not so many more summers to go. But then you start thinking, after this, it's only 39 more, and then it's 38 more. And you go, well, like, when are you going to take those trips? When are you going to go do that summer project that you got? So was it the 12-week year or something? I can't remember. It's some famous book. There's a couple of them, I think, that count your lifespan by the number of weeks you have left over. And it's meant to be inspiring, but I've also noticed, as an expat, it's the little thing. So the hair is one thing. Like, when will I ever be able to grow my hair again this long? I've been growing it for 3, maybe 4, 5 years, 4 years. COVID was 2020. Yeah, I've been growing it for about 3 or 4 years already. This is, 3 years, since February 2022, I think it was. 2021, 2022, somewhere around there. So been growing this since then. Same with the hair. Haven't had a haircut in a few years. Saved money, but was it worth it? So once I take it off, when will I ever have a chance to grow this much hair again? Some people might say, "Thank goodness you won't." On the other hand, I'll be going, hey, if I only have like another 40 summers to go, and this took 3 years to go, that means I could only grow this out another, what, 13 times? Possibly. So, what the other thing I've been doing over the years is actually taking selfies each and every day. So I take a series of selfies where I just do this. I was going to do a, what's it called? A time lapse of me changing over time. And you'll note, if you've followed this channel for a while, you'll know that there were quite a few people, especially a couple of years ago when I first started posting YouTube shorts. They were like, "Oh, you gotta cut your hair, cut your beard. You look like a bum. You look disheveled old man." I'm like, yes, well, because I guess most people would consider me to be an old man anyway, but disheveled, okay, sure, throw that in there as well. But they made comments about how my hair was all sort of frazzled and everything. And if you've ever grown out your hair before, you know there's sort of a transition period from, like, it looks okay, good, then it looks okay, it's getting a little long, and then it looks just, get a haircut. Once you push past that point, that's usually when you like wear a hat or a toque all the time, even in summer. Once you get past that get a haircut phase, then it's like, hey, you actually look kind of good with the long hair. Are you going to keep it? And so on and so on. You're like, well, yeah, maybe I'll keep it. Maybe, look at how lush and wonderful my hair is. Meanwhile, other people are kind of going, cut the hair, because you're going to regret that. Point is, I've been taking these selfies over the years, and I have like 3 years of selfies of my beard growing, of my hair growing, and it's gotten to the point that I can't hold the camera far enough to take the picture. So, and I take it both horizontal and vertical, because I figured at some point it might be too long. But so that's just the hair. What about the beard? When will I ever have another chance to grow a beard this long? It's about 16 inches or so, I think. I think we measured it as 15 or 16 inches. It's quite long. And also on these live streams that I made over the last couple weeks, people have been commenting that I should shave my beard or trim my beard as well. To which I kind of respond, show me your beard and then you can tell me whether or not to trim. To be fair, there's a TikTok account, School of Hard Knocks. He talks to a lot of millionaires and billionaires, and you'll notice that none of them look like this. No. What billionaire has a 16-inch beard? Even the Arabs shave their beard or trim their beards. What about like long hair? Who? Millionaires? Anyone with a long beard or a long hair or long hair? No, they are all very well kempt, I guess you could say. Now, am I saying that I'm not well kempt? I'd like to say keep it kind of organized. It does poof out on the sides. I know it's a little bit too much, and I was thinking at some point trimming it down like that, so it'd be like just straight down. But then I was like, you know what? Like, look at that. Would that be okay if I had it like that? How's that? Very narrow. That, yes, the idea has also been that I shave this, or at least cut it down and then tie it up. That would be okay as well. My nieces did that when I was back in Canada, but we didn't trim this, so it just kind of looked like a chicken leg sort of thing. It was kind of weird. It's kind of funny, but I figured I'd try it out. Anyway, looking to trim it off. Have to update all the logos, and I don't have a definite date just yet for that, but it's getting long enough that I'm thinking maybe, just possibly, it's time to get rid of it and start again. Would I grow out my hair again? I don't know. I don't really. I guess the other issue is that what type of haircut do I get after this? I think like in my early 20s, I basically had a shaved head. I had a shaved head, or it was like a buzz cut sort of thing. So it was very low maintenance. Since the upper 20s, since the 30s, I've had hair of varying lengths and everything. This is the longest my hair has ever been in my life, and that both excites me and worries me because, again, going back to that 40 weeks left of your lifetime, uh, that means if I never have long hair like this again, then every day that I have it is the longest it's ever been and the longest that it ever will be. Same with the beard. Is that inspiring or is that depressing? I don't know. Questions, questions, questions. If you have any questions, pop them into the chat box. I can try to answer them for you, whether it's beard care, living in China, teaching English, life lessons. I'm not sure what life lessons you'd be looking for on YouTube. Actually, I would say YouTube is a very good place to go for YouTube. Would you say that YouTube or ChatGPT are better for answering your questions? I know for myself, I go to ChatGPT quite a bit. I go to YouTube to find specific videos and to be entertained. Love watching Family Guy clips and learning social media marketing or social media content creation, marketing, and even learning languages a little bit. But most of my language learning is done on my own. I use apps and Manus AI, and I've actually bought. I bought a series of children's books. I can't remember when I bought these. These were a long time ago, and I bought like a chunk of them. So I bought all these children's books that I was supposed to read over time. This is about the solar system. We've got ancient history. We've got, are these the Chinese inventions maybe, or inventions in general? This is Chinese history or Chinese culture, modern agriculture, modern technology or different types of inventions there. We have food, and then I think this is also Zhuan Tong Wenhua, so it's a traditional culture. I have tried to read some of these, and I can't read them without a dictionary, which shocks me because I thought at HSK 5 I would be able to read more of these. And one of the reasons I bought physical books as opposed to ebooks is so that I couldn't ignore them. But if you're a language learner or at all a bookophile, you will know that although it's easy to say, I'll read this book right away, it's even easier to buy one and then ignore it as it looks at you every single day in your apartment or your bookshelf and you never touch it, yet you will go buy another book, be it in person or online. So this series of books has fallen victim again to being put off to the side, covered up, and it's like, oh yeah, I'll get to those tomorrow. So I've made an effort of trying to read a few more of these ones, and then I also have the 4 classics of Chinese literature. I'm right now reading Outlaws of the Marsh. Where's that one? That one's over there. I don't have that one nearby. What else do I have? I have not read these ones. A Dream of Red Mansions, I have not read that one. And Romance of the Three Kingdoms. This one's also very famous. Look how thick that thing is, though. These ones, I am surprised. So, okay, the difference between these two. These traditional books have pinyin in them. So they have the pinyin there. They have the characters there. I have found that what I'm reading these, they do come with a card that you can block out the pinyin or the hanzi or whatever. But I don't do that. Instead, what I try to do with those is I just read for extensive reading. So I'm not intensively reading these ones, and instead I opt to just work on reading the sentences and pay attention to grammatical structures rather than trying to learn every single word in there. The problem I have with those books, these abridged versions, and they're all graded readers. These are at the HSK 5 level. So the issue with them though is that I do get stuck reading the pinyin, and that means I'm not looking at the characters, which means that I'm not developing my character recognition abilities. That is a problem because once you take out the pinyin, reading the characters themselves gets a little bit difficult, as I realized with these children's books. So these children's books are only in Chinese. Now, the vast majority of it I can read on my own, but I can't help but sometimes it's like even here, the first character there. I don't know what that one is. Something D. D 方便面没有如何难度. So something 叫方便面. 方便面 is like fast noodle, ready-made noodles. I don't know what that first character is, so I'd have to look that part up. Next one, 这需要 only need 用热水, so you need hot water. 冲泡 fill, I don't know what 泡 would be. 中泡 bao, 3分钟 中泡, so it'd be only 3 minutes total. 就能得到, 就能 is only able 得到 to arrive at 一分可以 don't know, and then these ones, was it 真饱肚子的食物? I don't know what those two characters are. So I'm able to read the vast majority of it, but then there's some characters that I just don't know. It makes me wonder how much children can actually read and understand of these types of books if they, because already these are not, they don't have pinyin, so they aren't meant for little kids. They're not meant for like, not preschool, not kindergarten, maybe grade 3, grade 4, maybe grade 5. Maybe somewhere around there. I have no idea. Tell you the truth, I have no idea. What do kids read when they're grade 5? And not only that, they're not just these sort of cultural books. They are, was it well breadth? They again like inventions. What is this? 现代科技, modern technology. So I'm able to read some of it, not a lot, not all of it, which kind of disappoints me, given that I am supposedly an HSK 5. Not only that, I see there's this one lady on Threads that I follow, and she's writing her PhD in Chinese, and I'm sitting there going, you know, the people I have seen become fluent in Mandarin Chinese are the people who either started studying prior to coming to China, or the people who went to university here in China and studied the language as part of their degree. And I'm not doing that. So I have thought about becoming a student before. Last year at this time I was actually thinking about quitting my job and just studying Chinese. I talked to another guy who thought the exact same thing, and he's like, I don't know if you want to do that. Do you like going to class? I'm like, no. It's like, yeah, they take attendance, and you have to be there in order to pass the class. I'm like, that doesn't sound very fun. Not only that, I will say that my Chinese has, I think, improved over the last year, especially over the last couple of years. I am working on a new Chinese progress check. I actually shot that yesterday, edited it, sent it to my video editor because it's another one of these just talking head videos, and I thought she would have fun sort of prettying it up a little bit, whether it's using different titles or correcting my speech. There will be captions as well, so we'll burn in captions for the Chinese audience who maybe doesn't so much understand what I'm saying, but might struggle to follow along. So I will have that posted hopefully next week once the Australian videos are done. So the thing is, like, I actually said the date when I recorded it in the video, so I don't want to publish it too far on. I do want to start doing more Chinese videos over time. I think the one problem though is that if I'm doing Chinese videos on this channel, I'm not sure if it affects the channel's rankings or something like that. So I might actually have the idea to do 2 or 3 more channels, one for ESL and one for Chinese only. I don't think we're there just yet. I'm trying enough with this one. So got enough on my plate as it is. Getting back to the people who are fluent in Chinese that I've met or encountered over the years, again, yeah, they've all been university educated. They usually started studying Chinese before they came to China. The other thing is that they all spent time as students. I have not met anyone who is fluent in Chinese who held down a job, who had a job, and studied Chinese on the side. But as far as I know, I'm one of the few people who has done that. I mean, I have had teachers before, but I've never taken university classes or anything like that. Although that reminds me, I do have a BLCU course that I have to finish by October 25th, so I got to finish that already. But I've never enrolled in a, an accredited course, and I say accredited course because I have enrolled in classes before. I've had teachers before. I use italki quite a bit. I used to anyway. So very much, like, is that? Would you consider that to be self-study, or is it that even though I take since I've taken classes with teachers, that means I'm not self-studying, and that I am actually formally tutored, formally instructed in the Chinese language? Good question. You tell me. What do you think? Where do you fall on that line? All of this has sort of led me to try to hack the language by reading children's books or these graded readers. The other textbook series that a lot of people ask me about learning Chinese, and this is the textbook that I follow most often, the HSK textbooks. And this is Xia. Where did I get up to? 26. Okay, so I have got 24. I've done up to 24. So starting at 25 to 36, I've actually already gone through and read the texts once. I have also, this is another part that I found very difficult, was fill out these charts with the 形容词、副词等等动词、定语、中心语、讲语、中心语、数量词、主语、类语、谓语。What's that one? Something like that. So this is one thing that I've noticed about Chinese that where it differs from other languages. I think Japanese would be, well, no, Japanese has the katakana, hiragana, so it sort of breaks it down for you a little easier than Chinese. Chinese has no way to read the instructions on your own. So you could get it in English, but then it's not really an immersive experience now, is it? My point with this is that 动词, you have to remember what that word is in order to, like, 动词is a verb, I believe. I hope it is. 宾语, I can't remember what that one is. Is a noun or adjective? Adjective? No, 形容词 is, 形容词 is adverb. 动词, 宾语. See, that's exactly what it is. That's my problem, is that when you're learning Chinese, you spend so much time learning the characters that when they're saying, well, you should know how to use this character or this word because it's a verb or it's a noun, it takes this, and you're going, I have been spending most of my time reviewing flashcards because I don't remember what the characters are. Let alone what the grammatical function is. To say nothing of the actual grammatical functions where they talk about Chao, Jianzhi. What's the other one? What's a good example of a Yan Xu, Yan Ge? These two. So the functions of each of these types of words. They have a breakdown of the table, but understanding how they actually work together. This one's also when I go through this with teachers, where you have to select A or B. Sometimes they have it where you select it in the sentence. Where is it? They don't have it in this one. Where even this one, this exercise, fill in the blanks. I'll fill it in with a certain word because I don't know what it is. I'm taking a guess, and the teacher's like, "How could you do that? That's a verb. It wouldn't go there." I'm going, I had no idea what the characters were, let alone it was a verb or a noun. Which I'm not gonna lie. Here it is. Here's this type of exercise where you choose A, B, C, or D, and it's things like this where you don't. That's Lai and Cheng Yan, Yi Lu, and Chu Se. So again, I don't know. I don't 100% know those characters. As a result, I don't 100% know where they would fit in the sentence. So I mean, if this was a test situation, I just drop the pen on the paper and pick one. To which my teacher would say, "Why are you doing that? Can't you see that this is this and this is a verb, and so it would go in this position. It wouldn't go over here. It can't go over there. It's a verb." And I'm going, again, I was focusing on recognizing the character. I was happy that I recognized the characters. Forget about the grammatical function. So on and so on. So I'm on chapter 26 of the HSK 5 Xia. I've also thought about quitting my job, opening my own company, sponsoring my own visa, and then sitting here and documenting my gauntlet run, my run through the HSK 5 books. And I want to. There's someone else I know, a former colleague, who was also going to take HSK 5, but he said he was going to do it, and he never did. I have met a lot of foreigners who've hit this level, and then they stop. HSK 4 is also a very common level to hit as well, but HSK 5, when you get to HSK 5, you're able to do a lot more than you can at HSK 4. You're speaking a lot more. You're probably watching movies or TV a little bit better. You're not listening to podcasts, and you're probably also not really reading very much, especially not for fun, like picking up a novel and just flipping through it. So I do want to get through this. I was thinking of just banging through it and finally finishing the course on my own. I would not go with a teacher, but I have also. I'm not against having a teacher. The problem is that the teachers take forever. So I'd rather just go through the textbook as fast as I can. Sorry, not as fast as I can. I'd rather go through the textbook on my own slowly and understand it, and then have a teacher to go through it chapter by chapter. The problem I have found with going and using a teacher for the HSK books is that even if you know the material, they've kind of broken up how much you're worth to them. So if you pay them 50 renminbi per hour or per half hour, 45 minutes of class time, and they see that you're on chapter 26, so like, well, every class is 3 hour and a half, so I'll just charge them. I'll just go through the first part, then the second part, the third part, and that way I make 50 renminbi each class times 350 renminbi per class, per unit, times 10 units, that's 1,500 renminbi. I kind of get that sense that that's what they're doing when when I'm visiting or I'm meeting with a teacher to do the HSK 5 materials. If I didn't have that sense, like if I could find a teacher who would sort of be a little bit more flexible and say, okay, you're good at this, you're good at that, we can go through these parts in the HSK 5 books, and then we can just skip this part because you can do this on your own. It's probably much more worth it if it's on your own. Some of the teachers, actually a lot of the teachers, also download PowerPoints from online. I don't know where they get them from, but I know that there seems to be a repository for Chinese teachers to download PowerPoints, handouts, not ChatGPT. We're talking like these are actual handouts or actual PowerPoints made by other teachers that have put them up online for people like teachers on iTalki to actually use. As a result, if they have the PowerPoint, they need to use the PowerPoint. So that's just my sense that I get with a lot of teachers who are offering HSK tutoring or HSK instructions. It's not genuine. It's too slow. That's what it is. It's just too slow. I'd rather move a lot faster. That being said, they might be hearing or seeing something and going, Steve, I know you'd like to move faster, but the fact is that if you didn't recognize these characters and you don't know which position that they go into, A, B, C, or D, then we have to spend our time going through the grammatical function of them, making sure that you understand that these characters are a verb or a noun or an adjective, etc., and that you are able to not just do the textbook sentence, but then use it in an original creative sentence as well. I will tell you, the one big issue I still have with Chinese, even at this level that I'm at right now, is writing. Nothing humbles me faster and more than the writing section of the HSK test. And again, the teacher will look at me as some parts of the test, they scramble up the sentences. So you have like one character, two characters, one character, three characters, and you have to put them in the right order. I generally can read what the characters are, but understanding how the sentence needs to be constructed, again, comes down to a lot of grammatical functions and how words are grouped, particularly the logic of the grammar. 9 times out of 10, maybe, no, 6 times out of 10, I'm wrong. So 2/3 of the time, I'm pretty much off completely in my writing assessment or my writing at the HSK 5 level. To which the teacher looks at me and goes, how can you even conceive that sentence is made that way? Can't you see that this is a noun, this is a verb, this is a particle, etc.? I mean, of course I know what the particles are. Those are the easy ones. Duh. I can get duh. And zai. I know zai. Those ones are easy enough, but everything else, nouns, verbs, a character is a character in Chinese. Isn't it? Apparently not. They do actually have their grammatical function, and you're supposed to know them if you want to be fluent. All right. Well, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for tuning in today. I appreciate that. I do have, again, so this is my YouTube channel where I sort of track the goings on of my own language learning. You can tune in for next week. Tune in next week when I have that Chinese language progress check published. I think it's a good one. It's only about 6 or 7 minutes, and again, I want to do these a little bit more often rather than sporadically. I used to do them every month. Now I'm starting to think, well, what if I did them every week? It might be a little bit better to do them. I still cannot present off the cuff like this in Chinese, and I've also been editing the Chinese progress checks because I'm not gonna lie, they're just unlistenable otherwise. Hearing me stutter my way through speaking Chinese and going I figure if it's horrible for me, then it must not be fun for Chinese people either. So edit the videos, even if it means that people will say that I'm memorizing or faking my way through it, AIing everything. I am not. It's just that I feel sorry for people who have to listen to me in Chinese. I'll edit out all the ums and ahs and give them the captions at the bottom so they can read along and start to familiarize themselves with the Canadian Chinese accent. How's that? All right. Also have a podcast you can find on Libsyn and Apple and Spotify, Steven's Language Vlog podcast. It's available. It's for free. It's every week. I just finished publishing episode 53. If you like what you hear and see, you can head over to my Buy Me a Coffee page, buymeacoffee.com/Steven's Language Vlog. You can donate to the show. You can donate to the YouTube channel. You can buy me a beer if that's what you want to do. Or if you're like Steve, your Chinese sucks, I'm going to buy you a class. How's that? Go ahead. 50 renminbi, $10 Canadian, $12 Canadian plus tax or something like that. By all means, buy me a class. I would appreciate it very much, I'll tell you. You know what? If you buy me a class, if you don't want to buy me a coffee, but you want to buy me a class, do this through the Buy Me a Coffee website. Put the note in there, Steve, your Chinese sucks. I want you to work on your Chinese. I'm buying you a Chinese class. I will record it and I will send you a special Chinese video and what I learned from that class afterwards. I will report back to you on that. I can even give you a shout out on the YouTube channel and the podcast as well. So think about that. Again, $10 minimum for that. $15 minimum. It has to be a $15 minimum, which also is the cost of my current membership subscription program over on Buy Me a Coffee as well. So you can think about joining that. Maybe I'll have to up the subscription price, so then that means the coffee price, the class price will be lower or higher. No, I will increase the class price, keep the membership lower. That way you have to donate more. There we go. All right. Thanks, folks. I appreciate it. We're going to end it there. Any comments, questions, drop them in the boxes below, or drop me an email, stevenslanguagechannel@gmail.com is where you can reach me right now. Thanks again from Beijing evening. It's 6:20 p.m. Time for dinner. Have a good one. Bye-bye.